Right there, geezers, Jules here from FGS, home of the Future Game Show. And if there is one thing that I love more than hearing, "Sorry sir, we've run out of small plates, therefore I'll need to upgrade you to a big plate for free at a Toby Carvery," it is the thrill of video games going, "Hey now, whoa now, hey there fella, you've just unlocked a secret character, you little cheeky tyke." Which, trust me, is a moment that is becoming more and more rare as publishers realise basically they could just charge you for these hidden characters and make loads of delicious money. Still, the only thing more delectable than this secret gaming snack is when it actually turns the experience into an absolute game breaker, with the character in question being so ludicrously overpowered that the title becomes an utter cakewalk. Now, while some might turn their noses up at this, others will salivate at the chance to destroy enemies and their friends left, right and centre with ease. But the one thing they have in common is that they appear here on today's episode. So let's have a chat, as I'm Jules, this is FGS, and these are 8 secret video game characters that are total game breakers. Number 8, TT, Diddy Kong Racing. Even decades after the release of the stupendously great Diddy Kong Racing, a lot of folks still don't know that you can actually unlock TT, the anthropomorphic stopwatch, as a playable character. You know the guy I'm talking about, the person who probably gets tons of social anxiety as people stare at him to check out the time and he thinks he's got something on his face. He's like, what? What are you staring at? What are you staring at? Oh, it's 10 past 2. However, unlocking this of a clock is an epic pain in the arse, as you will have to beat him in every course in time trial mode, which is one hell of a tall order. I mean, honestly, it is easier to drink nails with your eyes than it is to beat some of these times, and just about as painful. The juice sure is worth the squeeze though, as TT stats are out of this goddamn world. His top speed and acceleration are the best in the game, which when combined with the robust handling that he has ensures that even less skilled players can basically win every single race with him. All the same, using TT in multiplayer mode with friends is an easy way to erase those friendships because he holds such an unfair advantage over every other racer in the game. Which likely means that all of that time you spent trying to unlock TT will be for nothing because your friends will just go, "Big thumbs down, not going to use him." And you're like, "Yeah, don't worry mate, that only took me a month." Number 7, Anita, Marvel Superheroes. By the way, I've actually got a copy of Marvel Superheroes for the PS1 and it is my all-time treasured piece of gaming memorabilia. Don't ask me if the disc works because it was scratched to absolute hell and back because somehow during the move down from Newcastle to Wales all those years ago, the disc managed to pop out of its little holder, wedge itself between the 2 cases that had popped itself open, and then had loads of other games crushing it and grinding one spot. So I was like, oh brilliant, might just go for a little bit of a retro game in, and then put it in. It was kind of like, you know when that PS1 makes like a very uncomfortable noise where it goes clunk, clunk, clunk. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound good. Just looked on the other side, looked like a bloody record groove being put into it. CEX couldn't even buff it out. That's saying it. You know, that's just saying it. The kings of the buff stuff. Anyway, right, let's actually talk about the game. For you see, in the Japanese version of Marvel Superheroes, players can unlock Anita, a character from Capcom's Darkstalkers series, by setting the game to free play mode and then entering a code on the character select screen. And you will be glad that you did, because she has one hell of an interesting quirk, and that is that she's actually an unfinished test character. And so, in addition to having no model art on the character select screen and being packed to the gills with tons of glitches, she is hilariously unbalanced. I mean, she's so overpowered, it is ridiculous. She can plow through just about every other fighter in the game like a goddamn wrecking ball. She basically sees your opponent's health bar as nothing more than a mild inconvenience, and she's in a rush to catch a bloody bus. Anita's infinity combo, called Love for You, sees her throw hundreds of dolls' heads at her opponents, dealing a maximum of 99 hits, pretty much potentially wiping out the majority of a fighter's life bar in one move. She is, in a word, downright broken to the point of hilarity. I mean, sure, she's absolutely fun to use in isolation, but as a main, well, she essentially ruins the game. Number 6, Blarney the Dinosaur, Xenophage, Alien Bloodsport. Time for a little bit of a deep cut now with the 1995 DOS fighting game Xenophage, Alien Bloodsport, which sounds all metal and edgelord cool, right? Well, what if I were to tell you that this game also houses Barney the Flippin' Dinosaur as a fighter in its roster? Well, technically, for legal reasons, he's actually called Blarney, but still, that is pretty mad, right? And yeah, I do say legal reasons here because Blarney the Dinosaur looks exactly like Barney in dodgy mid-90s proto-polygonal form and can violently draw blood from his foes, no less. So yeah, you'd be thinking that Mattel would have had a slam-dunk legal case if they ever took this to court. Which does actually lend credence to a theory that I'm working on, that Mattel doesn't actually sue because Barney secretly does have an unrelenting bloodlust. And all of this would have come to light during Discovery if it was ever taken to court. I mean, prove me wrong, the evidence is there. Kind of. It's a lot of speculation. Kind of, yeah. Anyway, Blarney can be accessed by editing one of the game's system files, but the question is, how does he break the game? Well, for one, if Blarney falls over, there is no way for the player to get him back onto his feet, and more to the point, he'll also randomly crash the game, because of course he would, the stupid purple. It's almost as if the universe itself knows that including Barney, or Blarney in this case, in an ultra-violent fighting game is a perversion of nature, and so will not let this happen for a prolonged period. But for those moments that the game runs, oh, mwah, delicious, absolute, horrific bliss. Number 5, Wolf O'Donnell, Star Fox Assault. Now, Star Fox Assault players, you know, the two of you who actually checked in on the series after Star Fox Adventures beat the franchise to a bloody pulp, could unlock the legendary Wolf O'Donnell for use in the game's multiplayer versus mode by beating all 10 story missions while not letting any of the other Star Fox team members retire during said missions. And those who do will be rewarded with a combatant who is basically game-bustingly good. I mean, the key here is that Wolf is the only playable character in the versus mode who has 3 maxed out stats: health, run, and wolfen. The last one makes more sense because he is actually a wolf, but yeah, fair enough. And this is a lethal combo because it means he has tons of health, it allows him to withstand tons of damage that obliterate most other things, he can run rings around the competition, and can also hit super hard, while likely saying I'm a wolf. I believe that's what the wolfen stat does. And you know what, for Warhammer nerds out there watching this who are struggling to sort of grasp the concept here, it's like, imagine, okay, if orcs shot like Tau, moved like World Eaters, and then still remembered to bring enough choppers to crump a Bane blade. For the rest of you out there, he's nails. On one hand, friends might like to make a pact not to use Wolf, but on the other, he's such a damn cool customer that the temptation is definitely going to be tough to resist. Number 4, Ash, Bare Knuckle 3. Now, for those unaware, Bare Knuckle 3 is actually the Japanese version of Streets of Rage 3 and actually featured a secret character who was cut from the American and European versions of the game. And that character is Ash, a chaps-wearing, leather-clad lad whose flamboyant portrayal led to him being removed for the English-speaking releases for fear that his stereotypical portrayal of an apparently gay man would cause offence. In the Japanese version, though, Ash appears as a boss who, after being defeated, can be selected as a playable character. And while Ash is effectively an unfinished fighter in the game, what did make the cut packs one hell of a punch. Quite literally, in fact. And that's because, though Ash's moveset is limited and his range is virtually non-existent, his punches are so powerful that they can fell even the game's strongest bosses extremely quickly. He's basically walking around doing that 1-inch Bruce Lee punch all the time, and it is devastating. In fact, he's so utterly potent that fans who did get the chance to play as him complained that the game became so insanely easy that it wasn't even fun at all. And trust me, you have to do a lot to make Streets of Rage unfun. But there we go. Number 3, Young Harmon, Killer 7. Now, players who beat the cel-shaded FPS kaleidoscope of insanity known as Killer 7 will unlock a new, tougher version of the game called Killer 8, where instead they take control of a younger version of protagonist Harmon Smith. And even accepting that Killer 8 has a much increased difficulty level called Bloodbath that is considerably higher than that in the base game, Young Harmon, who you play as, is an utter Beast Man. I mean, he rocks an old school Tommy gun with an incredible rate of fire and ammo capacity, meaning that you can positively melt most foes who get in your way. On top of this, young Harmon also has oodles and oodles of health, making him a sheer tank in most scenarios. Again, this is kind of mitigated somewhat by the higher difficulty of Killer 8 mode, where enemies will take absolutely ages to go down, but young Harmon is still an absolute force compared to every other playable assassin in this game, to the point that it actually feels a bit daft. Well, because this game is silly sauce, my friends, squirted on your chips. It's just insane. It's like the devs decided that they go, oh yeah, take that player, a higher challenge mode for you, and then in the same breath forgot about the almighty power of gun, which Harmon wields to pretty potent effect. It's kind of like, you shall never get past my psychic barrier, my friend. Are you sure about that? I have, let me check, many rounds that say differently. Haha, oh bollocks, oh dear. I wish I'd gone to a different type of magic school and I'd had that Houdini gas bomb to disappear. That doesn't work either, mate, because gun, again. I'll just lay down, save myself from falling dead, yeah. Shoot me on the floor, yeah, sure. Long story short, young Harmon kind of makes young Sheldon look like an absolute silly little tit. Well, more so. Number 2, Old Sagat, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Now in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, players can unlock the original Super Street Fighter 2 version of Sagat called Old Sagat by selecting Sagat on the character selection screen and then inputting a secret code. The rub here, however, is that Old Sagat is decidedly stronger than just about every other fighter in the entire game. Capcom apparently didn't compensate for changes in the game engine between Super Street Fighter 2 and the Turbo version, and so Old Sagat's Tiger Shots are straight up, let me check, ooh, what's that? Lethal to opponents because he can spam them out so incredibly quickly. He might as well be able to do so with one hand at a time. Just going, Tiger Shot, Tiger Shot, Tiger Shot, Tiger Shot, Tiger Shot. It descends into chaos very quickly. In fact, Old Sagat was strong enough that he was quickly soft banned from Japanese Street Fighter competitions because his ability to utterly melt every single fighter, turning even the best into utter sobbing jobbers, just meant that everyone who picked him was basically just saying, like, might as well just give me the trophy. So yeah, when the competitive scene has to step in and say, whoa now, hey now, let's slow this down, you know that things have really gone to hell in a handbasket. And number 1, Omega Rugal, the King of Fighters 95. Now, Omega Rugal is one of the most maddeningly difficult final boss fights in King of Fighters 95, but thankfully, you don't actually need to beat him in order to play as him, because you can simply enter a cheat code on the fighter select screen and voila! He's all yours. And also, what's that sound? Oh, it's the gates of hell opening up because you have unleashed an apocalyptic plague upon this world, you idiot. Because boy, the playable version of Omega Rugal isn't even slightly toned down from his hellaciously difficult boss form, and it made him an instantly controversial fighter within the King of Fighters fandom. That is to say that even in the hands of unskilled players, this guy is basically unstoppable, to the point that he is just straight up busted. Much like our old friend Old Sagat over here, Omega Rugal is largely banned from the game's competitive scene as a result, because this guy is just so unrelentingly powerful that it's tough for any other fighters to have a hope of answering him. Especially when the call is, knock knock, you're dead. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 secret video game characters who were utter game breakers. I hope that you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. And if you want to chat to me on the social medias in the meantime, I'm over here on Blue Sky at RetroJ, but the O is a 0. Same for Instagram as well, if you have the need to want to follow me on 2 social media platforms. Gross, I know. Exhausting, right? And if you want to follow my lovely editor Mark, you can do so over here on his social medias. Yes, my friends. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Even though we spoke today about secret video game characters that were utter game breakers, I'm going to show you a little game breaking tip that you can do right now, and it ain't no secret at all. And that is just being goddamn kind to yourself. Because trust me, if you go out there with that self-confidence and assuredness that comes from accepting who you are, flaws and all, you will have a much better time out in the wild, because trust me, It's a mean, cruel, and cold place sometimes, but if you believe and if you accept that we as humans have flaws, but that you are still a big ledge and you deserve the best, then trust me, you'll start looking at things a little bit differently. You'll start looking at things and thinking, how can I help? How can I improve not just my situation, but those around me? And building bridges instead of burning them is the only way we're going to get through this crazy thing called life together. Big love to you, my friend. Just remember, you're a massive ledge. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.